Howdy folks, Darren Ray Fonso here again talking about labor and industries, or workers' comp, or L&I as we call it here in the state of Washington. Today's topic is going to be whistleblowers, work comp whistleblowers, and Hanford whistleblowers. It's actually the Hanford Challenge who I'm going to be calling today and asking them why it is if they're getting voices heard and as they're being whistleblowers to the harm done to injured workers at Hanford, why aren't they sounding the alarm to the harm done to 400 injured state farm workers in our state who say our state L&I system is failing them? And me screaming at them too for help and the minimum federal oversight that Senator Sanders, Patty Murray, and Tom Perez all told us injured workers in America that we need. So anyways, I will save it, and we're going to call this Hanford Challenge today. Tom Carpenter, who was an injured worker apparently, who fought for a long time to fight for injured workers, and that's great. But at this point, it's starting to look as though this is being used as nothing but smoke and mirrors and a distraction from the harm done to the injured 400 injured farm workers and other injured workers like myself that are not being represented by this Hanford injured workers and Bob Ferguson, the Attorney General, all getting our hero awards and patting each other on the ass for how great both these people are, Tom Carpenter and Bob Ferguson, yet neither one of them will come out and tell us about the needed minimum federal oversight and how the state AG himself becomes the enemy of injured workers in the state of Washington, because it's the AG who takes on the cases and fights for the state as we try and state workers try and fight back against a war being waged on the rest of the injured workers in the state that apparently, I don't know, Tom Carpenter and Bob Ferguson don't want to step up and represent with some minimum federal standards, like a basic minimum wage. Anyways, you know, we regulate how spark plugs are regulated on a federal level, but how injured workers get treated, that is left up to each state to pitted against each one another in a race to the bottom to see who can take the most away from grand bargain away the most from the injured workers, and that's harming labor more than it's helping us. So anyways, let's see what Hanford Challenge has to say about all this.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Hanford Challenge.
Please enter your password. Please enter your password, or if you have entered the wrong mailbox number, press star. Goodbye.
Well, we'll try a different number. Apparently that one didn't work, so we'll try this other number of this guy who's supposed to be outreach for the Hanford Challenge. Let me talk to him and see what happened. Can't say his last name. Babu is his last name, but I mean his last name. I can't. Arthur Babu or something like that. So 1206 292 2850. What's the same number?
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Hanford Challenge.
It's not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, my name's Darren Fonso, and I'm an injured worker and an L&I pensioner here in the state of Washington. And I would like to know why Hanford Challenge and the whistleblowers that are getting our voices heard, kudos for them. But I want to know why nobody's speaking up for the injured 400 farm workers in our state who also say we are being harmed. Why is that voice not being represented by the Hanford Challenge? Are we just for union workers and those workers that have the good jobs, or are we going to stand up and represent the rest of the injured workers in the state and call out Bob Ferguson, who is our enemy for the rest of the injured workers in the state? See, it's insulting to the rest of America's injured workers when Hanford Challenge will stand up and pat Bob Ferguson on the ass and say what a hero he is to the injured workers at Hanford for standing up against the feds, but yet neither he won't say nothing about the harm done to the rest of the injured workers and the needed minimum federal oversight that Senator Sanders, Patty Murray, and Tom Perez told us all we need. So it's egregious and insulting for the Hanford Challenge to pat, for Bob Ferguson to pat Tom Carpenter on the ass, and the unions all to pat Tom Carpenter on the ass, when Tom Carpenter and the unions and Larry, the guy from the president of the Washington Labor Council, Larry Brown, none of them seem to want to get honest about the needed minimum federal oversight that Senator Sanders and Patty Murray and Tom Perez told the rest of the injured workers in America we need. This is where we are failing the injured workers. Nonetheless, I would like to know why, if you're going to blow the whistle, why aren't you blowing the whistle and sounding the alarm of the harm done to 400 injured farm workers in our state and the needed minimum federal oversight that all the rest of the injured workers in America are calling for? It's egregious when half of our Dem Party and the liberal front groups like yourselves want to use Hanford injured workers' misery, smoke and mirrors, and distractions from the harm done to the rest of us. The same thing with the pole dancers. You wanted to throw that up that we're fighting for pole dancers, but yet when it comes time for those pole dancers to get that, collect that workers' comp, they're going to be put through hell just like the rest of us are called nuts and sluts. Every injured worker, the rest of us, that's how we are treated when we go to get our shit. Even if, and I'm not talking about Hanford workers, I'm talking about all the rest of us workers and state workers. I worked at the University of Washington Medical Center. So it's egregious to us, the rest of the injured workers in America, when we have this facade that we're having the whistle blown on the harm done to injured workers in the state of Washington. And you people can't get honest about the minimum federal oversight and how RT Self and the Latino Civic Alliance, all on Latino Legislative Day, try to spin the narrative and say we were not harming 400 injured farm workers in our state. This is a complete failure. And Tom Carpenter, if you can't step up and represent the injured workers in the state of Washington, sir, then don't call yourself a whistleblower or don't expect me to give you any respect, brother, because you don't deserve it. You don't deserve respect when you turn your backs on the rest of injured workers in America. You and Bob Ferguson need to speak up about the minimum federal oversight, or you are cowards in this injured workers book. And I am an L&I pensioner, bitch. And if we're harming people's mental health, then we need that shit addressed. When this fucking war on injured workers can be traced back to the fucking suicides, 25% of the fucking suicides can be related back to work comp, then by God, brothers and sisters, you and Bob Ferguson and this fucking Hanford Challenge need to talk about that. You need to talk about the federal oversight that Senator Sanders, Patty Murray, and Tom Perez told us we need, or this is nothing but fake fucking fronts to cover up a war on the rest of us by bizmen. Tom, I want to hear the truth, and today you're going to go on the radio and talk.
Satisfied with your message? Press 1. To listen to your
I'm
message,
satisfied.
press 2. To erase and re-record, 3. To send your message now, press pound. To mark your message private, thank you. Your message has been sent. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Hanford Challenge. And they wonder why injured workers in America get angry. This is why. We have fake liberal front groups, and I am a lifelong Democrat. And it is egregious when my own side wages war on injured workers and won't step up and tell us the truth about the need of minimum federal oversight. I will leave it at that. I told my wife I would be calm, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be calm, and I'm going to call out my own side for siding with the fucking other side and the people at the top to wage war on people on the bottom. When you won't represent the lowliest injured 400 farm workers, and get distracted with pole dancers that you won't even cover when it comes time to cover them, but you're going to suck up the money from those people as they're doing after they do their work. But yet when it comes time to get their stuff covered, it'll be Bob Ferguson that they'll have to fight against, unless they're the self-insured folks. But not, anyways, for the most part, it ends up being L&I and Bob Ferguson who we end up fighting, our own state attorney general. Even though here in our state, we're like 4 states that have where workers pay in. So I pay for my work comp premium insurance, half of it alongside my employer. So we were both insurance consumers. We were both being defrauded here by the state that will then hire doctors to lie to the eye to cheat us out of the goods and services intently that they are supposed to be rendering us if we're harmed or injured on the job. I'll leave it at that. When the Hanford Challenge can't step up and tell and fight for the rest of America's injured workers, it's kind of selfish at this point.